Yo, what's good? This your boy Derek Branch here of SportsView360.com, covering the New Orleans Saints. And today it was announced that Derek Carr will be the Saints QB1 going into 2025. Based on the news that was reported today, the Saints went ahead and opted to restructure Derek Carr's contract, which clears the Saints of, which, saves up about my bad, opens up about 30 million in salary cap for the team. They have to get cap compliant by March 12th. So that pretty much silences all talks about him being cut, being traded. There was even some talk about him taking a pay cut, just to, add more players to this team, more quality depth to this team. But that's not happening. That's not happening. Derek Carr will be a part of this team this upcoming season with a new head coach, with a new offensive coordinator once again. So there's that. Now I know a lot of people out there are upset and disappointed by this news that came out today. But look, man, I told y'all this. I'm gonna keep talking about this too. I told y'all this a while back that even though Luma said in the presser that it was going to be the coach's decision to determine what they're going to do, what to do with Derek Carr, his preference deep down inside was to keep Derek Carr as starting quarterback. That was his preference. And also, Kellen Moore didn't make things any better by his remarks on Derek Carr, by complimenting Derek Carr, but not committing to him, not saying that he is a starter going forward. But now, a few weeks later, Derek Carr is this guy. That I told y'all this before. Aaron Glenn, when Aaron Glenn did his introduction, even though he didn't come out and say that we're moving on from Aaron Rodgers, you could tell by his tone and his vibe that they were moving on from Aaron Rodgers. And 2 weeks later, I believe, it was announced that the Jets were moving on from Aaron Rodgers. You didn't get that with Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore complimented Derek Carr, and he left it up for interpretation of what that meant. Some people thought that meant that he was just saying that for coach speak, typical coach speak, and he wanted his own guy. No, they want to win right now. That's what they want to do. That's just what it is, man. Um, I'm not surprised by this, man. I told you that in the last video, the last two of the videos I made on this subject. I'm not surprised by this team hitching their wagon to Derek Carr. You know, and now that I wouldn't be surprised if Carr is on this roster in 2026 because due to this restructure, it cleared up about 30.9 million in cap space, right? So they got to get cap compliant by March 12th, and they're just 39 million over the cap. Well, into the week went, but prior to this deal being made, they were just shy of 39 million over the cap. 30 million puts them way down. All right. So because of this deal, his cap hit could balloon up to in 2026. His cap hit could balloon up to 70 million against the cap next season. So next year we could be doing the same thing again, most likely. But this is what this is about, man. I'm gonna tell you what this ultimately is about. This is what this stuff is ultimately about. All right. This is about Mickey Loomis wanting to prove that he can win a Super Bowl without without the presence of Sean Payton and Drew Brees. He is trying to solidify his legacy as the NFL general manager so that he can go into the Hall of Fame. I think he's going to go in anyway, but getting this team back into Super Bowl contention, even if they don't win another Super Bowl, is going to pretty much pencil in Mickey Loomis as a Hall of Famer, as an NFL general manager. But that's what this is about, man. This is why they continue to, you know, go for it. I won't even call it go all in, but continue to kick the can down the road, have the restructures, and hitch their hopes towards to Derek Carr. This is why they're doing that, you know. And as for me, I don't have an issue with this, but my problem with it is that I'm tired of this team always having an excuse of why they can't compete for a championship, why they can't win NFC South at best, at most. Year one of the Derek Carr, it was bad offensive line, bad play calling by Pete Carmichael, and not being on the same page with the wide receivers. Year two, they started out really good. Yeah, then after that, injuries started to pile up. Another bad year. So what year three is gonna do? What you gonna do in year three that could prevent what happened in year one and two with Derek Carr as your quarterback? This team has to do something differently. It has to, because if not, you're gonna have the same issues. One, I'll give him credit for this. At least Dennis Allen won't be his head coach. At least, you know, yeah, at least Dennis Allen won't be his head coach. At least you won't have Pete Carmichael calling plays. I'll give him that. But Kellen Moore has no ties to those guys. Kellen Moore has no ties to the Sean Payton regime. I'll give him credit for that. Now, what is this team going to do? That's that won't. What is this team is going to do? That will prevent what has happened the last two seasons with Derek Carr as a quarterback. Because his tenure with this franchise has been marred with injuries and inconsistencies. Year one, you had that the Saints had the opportunity to win 12 games. You had one of the easiest schedules in NFL history. You couldn't get it done. You won 9 games. Year two, what could have been? Bad. Eric McCoy goes down. Derek Cole performs like a different quarterback, and the coach get fired. You know, so all that talk about him taking a pay cut, that turned out not to be true. He said he wasn't going to take a pay cut, and then like a few weeks later, a month later, there was just some talk about him possibly taking a pay cut because the narrative was that if he takes this pay cut, the team could add more talent to the roster, and you know, if he goes out there and have a really good year, you know, it would help him. It would rise. It would build up his stock for when he becomes a free agent again after the conclusion of this upcoming season, and he'll be in store for another big payday. But Derek Carr, the team, they didn't see it that way. And from what I'm reading, according to Nick Underhill, is that the Saints wanted him back. The Saints really wanted Derek Carr to come back, and that Kelly all of a sudden now Kellen Moore thinks highly of Derek Carr. That's just what it is now, you know. But it is what it is. Maybe Kellen Moore was told to act like that in that presser. We don't know. We'll never know. But to me, it is what it is, man. But I just want to see what this team is going to do differently compared to the previous 2 years. Mickey Loomis came out and said that the team is going to be real aggressive during free agency. We'll see. We're going to see what moves you're going to make. But I know this is what I think. This is what I think I want. This is what I think Loomis wants to happen. Right? Loomis wants his team to have that 2017 through 2020 run with Drew Brees, similar to how Drew Brees had his run. You know what I mean? After they had that run from 2006 to 2011, and then they took that step back during the Bronegate year and all that, and the 7 to 9 years. Then they had the draft class in 2017, 2016, 2017. They got things going again. That's what Loomis wants to happen. Don't know if it's gonna happen, but that's the vision of what I think Mickey Loomis wants to happen with Derek Carr as quarterback. Surround him with good draft picks, good talent, make a few phrase moves here and there, and go for a championship. That's what he wants to happen. But so far, they have not done that. They have not done that. But this upcoming season, with the ninth overall pick, they have a chance to add some talent to this team, even in the first and second round, the third round as well. And like I said, I wouldn't be opposed to this team trading out that ninth spot. I wouldn't be opposed to it. But we'll see how it all play out, man. But Derek Carr, for all intents and purposes, will be the star quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. Now, one thing I think they should do, they should still try to add another quarterback to this room. And maybe maybe they believe that Spencer Rattler is the guy that can take over for Derek Carr. Maybe they believe that. Because according to what the reports are saying, have been saying recently, the national reports, is that the organization, the front office, is really big on Spencer Rattler. And maybe they feel as though they have that guy in the building right now that can take over for Derek Carr. Because last year, regardless of how you view it, you really couldn't evaluate Spencer Rattler in those conditions for a quarterback. Bad offensive line, um, your two top wide receivers hurt, Taysom Hill goes out. You couldn't really evaluate him, So they should still try to add a quarterback to this role or continue to develop Spencer Rattler. And the thing is, the scary part about this is that I think it's a little funny as well that the Saints might be good with Kellen Moore and Derek Carr. They might be, you know. Dennis Allen was not the right head coach for this team. They might be good with him. And then if you are good with him, you overachieve in 2025. What now? Do you keep going with Derek Carr? Do you restructure him again and further spread out his cap hit? Because that's going to happen. If he comes out and have a Pro Bowl season under Kellen Moore, I think chances are very high that they're going to continue this stuff. They're going to continue this in 2026. That's just the fact. That's just what it is. But we'll see how it all play out, man. But the Saints have decided to restructure the contract of Derek Carr, which clears up about 30.9 million in salary cap space. Well, not clear up, but clear up about 30.9 million against the 2025 salary cap. So there's that. All right, so that's y'all for right now, man. If you listen to this podcast through YouTube, give me a like, um, comment, subscribe to the channel. Let me know how you feel. What are your thoughts? What are your takeaways from Derek Carr? being on this team for next season. You listen to this podcast through Spotify, Apple, or Amazon. Leave a review, 5-star rating. Leave your comments. Let me know what are your thoughts on the current topic I talked about tonight, and also check out sportsview360.com for latest content on NFL, the NBA, the Saints, and much more. Have a blessed day. Peace. I'm out.